It's almost a form of bullying. I mean, because you're scaring lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people into hiding their true selves because of your ignorance and how you will try to treat them in society. I've seen stories of people who had to pretend that they weren't gay or LGBT because they wanted to get jobs or they wanted to go somewhere. And that's not a world that we should live in. We should live in a world where you're proud to be yourself. And right now, I was just thinking about the movie Imitation of Life. Now, the main character, she did not want to be black, and so she pretended that she was white because she had light skin, and she wanted to do that because she lived in a world where being black, and she lived in a community where being black wasn't accepted, and she didn't want to be associated with black people because of the stereotypes that black people have, that we all eat fried chicken and we all love Kool-Aid and that we're all so ignorant and have nappy hair. And that's not black people at all. We're a strong foundation. We're just like any other race. Ghetto should not be a synonym for black. The word ghetto should not exist. Ghetto is just another word that you use to break people. Ghetto is just a discriminative word, and it's not something that should be in our everyday vocabulary. I shouldn't go to school and hear, you're so ghetto, and you live in the projects, and you use food stamps. You shouldn't make fun of other people's lives because, oh well, if that's the way that they live, then let them live that way. And so, basically, the LGBT movement, it's scaring people. It's just like the American Civil Rights Movement. Like, people are boycotting gay marriage, and people are still just so mean and won't let people live the way they want to live. So what if Sarah and Emily want to get married? Let Sarah and Emily get married. It's just the equivalent as James and Emily getting married. Oh well, James and Emily got married. Let them get married. So just chill out. Let people live the way they want to live. I mean, what's so wrong with loving who you want to love? I mean, because you shouldn't be scared of who you are. Like back in the American Civil Rights Movement, you shouldn't be scared to be black. You shouldn't be scared to go to this cafe and this place, all because of the color of your skin. Nowadays, you shouldn't be scared to go somewhere, to do something, to apply for a job or to go somewhere because of your sexuality. That's just like being scared to do something because you're a woman, being scared to enroll for the army because you're a woman. And Rosie the Riveter, like back during the World Wars, Rosie the Riveter was a big part of that because when men went off to go to war, women had to take over the men's jobs that they abandoned. And so, people were like, oh, women can't do this and women can't do that. And so Rosie the Riveter's posters popped up everywhere, and she inspired women to do what they wanted to do, because you shouldn't be scared to do something or discouraged to do something because of, back then, if you're a female or a man. And so then after that, we had the American Civil Rights Movement. You shouldn't be scared to do something because of your race. And now we have the LGBT movement, and now you're scared to do something because of your sexuality.
And so you're saying, in total, Alana, that there is what we call civil rights, and that these civil rights, whether we're talking about the LGBT community or whether we're talking about African Americans or whatever group, people ought to be able to enjoy their lives
and have their civil rights, their human rights, the right to get married, the right to live a beautiful life without being discouraged because of your sexuality. And so basically, I'm going to say that I think this should be taught in schools more, just like history, because I did not hear about Stonewall in school. I've never learned about Stonewall. I had to look on my computer. I had to hear about it from a girl who had a book about it, and I had to hear about it, and I'm just like, this is a part of history. This is still impacting modern day society. Why don't we learn about this? Because schools are scared to learn about it, because I know that teachers aren't supposed to discuss their sexuality or their religion and all because of the way that kids will react to it. But I think that everybody should have the right to be themselves. You shouldn't be scared of who you are.
And so, Alana, you've taken this whole idea of individual liberties and constitutional rights, and you are in reality saying that if you can support one right, then
you can't support civil. You can't march on the March on Washington, then boycott gay marriage, because those two are more alike than you think. They're just impacting more people. One isn't impacting more people. And so the American Civil Rights, they had more people. They had black people, the whole black community. This has the whole gay community. Just think about it. They're still people. We are all people, and you can't X us out because of you think we're not the equivalent of you and you think you're better than us, because we are all humans and we need to stand together and fight for each other, because in the end, all we have left is each other. As humans, as neighbors and friends, we have each other, and that's what we need to make a change.
Alana, let me sort of bring this to some conclusion here to tell you that I had my misgivings in reference to bringing this information forward, and especially bringing this information to have you to succumb in a real sense to your desire to talk about this as a topic, you see. But I think nevertheless it did serve as an opportunity to hear not only your expression in reference to this, but to understand that even children your age, because in many instances you're talking about something that many people don't regard as a child's topic, but since and what I think that you're demonstrating is that there is an awareness not only among elderlies and young people, but there's also an awareness among people in your age level and et cetera, even though they seldom express that. And I want to thank you for bringing that information out to us today, because coming from an 11-year-old person, I think it has a different impact than it does coming from anybody else. And so I want you to know that I had many misgivings in reference to this and the impact that it might have and et cetera. But nevertheless, I thought that it was important since, and since it appeared that this was the only topic that you were willing to deal with today, that we could, in a real sense, deal with this. And I want to thank you for bringing the information, and I want to encourage myself to be able to understand, have a greater understanding of